how to hack your interview. How to hack your interview. Interview should always be a two-way street. A communication between you yourself and the interviewer is a two-way street. You go in there, you are presenting your value, and the interviewer is trying to verify if you can do what you say you can do. So take a look at this. Interview is just the quest of what you told us in your CV or your resume. Can you defend it? That's interview in the brief. And that's the simplest definition to interview. So when you're entering interview, that mindset should be, okay, I'm going there to defend everything I said in my job application. I'm going there to defend my resume. I'm going there to tell them that I am the best fit for the role. So how do you know you are the best fit for the role? This takes us to the job description. So before every interview, one thing you should always know is go back to the job description. Before every interview, go back to the job description. And one way to get the job description is through your job tracker. And I hope you have that. So when a company invites you for interview, what you want to do is go to the job which you apply for and then track it. Track it. For example, demand call. Let's assume demand call invites me for an interview. And then what I want to do is I want to go back to the job description for demand calls. Go back to the job description for demand call and then present myself that, okay, I am suitable for the role. And remember, what you are defending is simply basically who you are or the minimum requirements. You're telling them that, okay, I hit large percent of the minimum requirements, and then what you will do. Now, you're telling them in that interview that, okay, everything you wrote here, or most of the things you wrote here in what I will do, these are the things I'm already doing. And then coming on board, I'm a quick learner and I'll be able to do more. Okay? That is perfectly understood, right?
Yes, I understand.
Basically, that is what interview is. So we'll be treating 5 interview questions in this interview lesson. The first, tell me about yourself. How should you answer this? Structure, sale, C's. So the XSS technique, always remember this. Structure, sale, C's. And remember, tell me about yourself. What the recruiter is asking is, I gave a minimum requirement. This is how tell me about yourself should sound henceforth. If the interviewer asks, tell me about yourself, what the interviewer is asking is, I gave a minimum requirement in my job description. Now, can you tell me if you are the best candidates, if you fit in all the requirements I gave in that job description, or if you are the best person to do that particular role? Structure, so keep it brief. So for example, if I'm applying for, let me go through a role quickly. Let me take a company. So for example, if I'm looking for the growth marketing manager position in, let me see. Okay, let me use Vorem. No, let me see. Okay, Rescave. I'm interviewed for this growth marketing manager. And then the interviewer asks me, tell me about yourself. Now, what I want to emphasize first is I'm a growth marketer. I'm looking to transition into a growth marketing manager first. So I will go like this. Thank you so much for that question. I'm Emmanuel Isika, a growth marketing manager who has worked with startup and scale up. I've helped grow startup alongside with the team by 3S to 10S, managing $36,000 in marketing budgets and helping companies save $200,000 in marketing costs while increasing revenue by 2S to 3S, even while working with Robin Sherman. And an excellent written. I have excellent written and communication skill because I work remotely with Robin Sherman, and most of it we are through online meetings, meeting with clients, meeting with the team, presentation, overview of strategy, growth strategy, and execution of this strategy. What did I just do there? Let me explain before going further. Now I've hit on the first skill that, okay, I have written skill and communication skill. So let's go to the next. Okay, because I work remotely and very flexible, I'm highly organized. And while working with Robin and previous startup, we use Asana, which is a project management tool, to organize our work and to show what is a priority to the organization and what is not. Now, I've answered the second question, telling them I'm organized. Now, going to the third. Now, I have experience working with the marketing team, as Robin Sharma was a team of 52, majorly in the marketing department. And then I headed all the email marketing efforts in Robin Sharma, while working with Robin Sherman. And then previously, before working with Robin, I have strong experience working with startup. Even as I said, I've grew startup alongside with the team by 3 years to 10x. Although I have no experience with demand generation, but I'm on the course to becoming a paid ad specialist, as I just finished a course with HubSpot on how to become a demand generation manager, which makes me generate leads through paid aid. But then I have lots of experience with organic search, as I have helped previous startups generate about 10,000 users organically. Now, I've answered this. Then I have ability to execute because strategy alone speaks 30% of the work, or let's just say 10% of the work, while execution speak about 99%. So I'm a great executionist, and I have the drive to work on multiple projects concurrently. As while with Robin, I worked on the email, I worked on list cleaning, even while helping the social media to repurpose their content even on TikTok, thereby growing the TikTok by 200,000% month on month. So that shows I've answered everything on why I'm qualified. So that is how Tell Me About Yourself should go. You should always emphasize on the key things, which is the requirements, and then always show why you are in for this role. Now, in that short while, I've been able to talk about that I have experience with email campaign, with landing page. I have experience with, I'm currently learning lead generation. I have experience with creating marketing strategy. So everything which I'm to do to this role, I already told the interviewer that this is what I'm doing, or this is what I've currently done in the previous startup. So what do you think would be the output of the interview? Simply, oh, this would be the response of the interviewer. Oh, gosh, you are just too good. We can't let this opportunity pass by you. Please take our money, come on this role, and then get paid. So ensure it's a structure, sales, and then seize the opportunity to emphasize that you meet the job requirements by telling and showcasing your work. So that's how to answer the Tell Me About Yourself question. Let's look at an example. So we go to the next question, which says, why are you a fit to succeed for this role? Now, remember, the interviewer is looking for you to demonstrate why you are a match for that job. So what you're looking at is basically, did you meet the basic requirements? Do you understand the organization culture? Do you understand the organization culture? Do you know about the company? And the problem we are solving as a company, is this something you are really passionate about to solve even in the long run? So you should seize the opportunity to talk about your skill sets and experience that relates to the role. And experience that relates to the role at hand. So You look at the responsibility of basically what you've been doing in the company, and then you emphasize that, okay, previously during your side projects, during while you're working within startup, you've already done this, or you are doing this currently in your career. So it has to do with research, and make sure you look at the company website and ensure you understand their business and all. So the third, what is your salary expectation? When people are asked this, they are tempted to give a figure straight. And that is a bad way to go about the salary negotiation. Why? Because two things can happen. First, if you give a salary which is greater than the company's budget, they are going to tell you, we will get back to you. And then if it's a startup, definitely they will never get back to you. Now, if you give far below the company budget, what happens? It's a proof that you do not know your networks, your what, and then what that means is, if it's a company looking for a competent staff, intermediate to mid-level, that shows you'll be automatically rejected, because not knowing your words means you won't be able to deliver on the job. So that's the response you're giving. So the trick to this is always force out the company budget from the interviewer. Okay? Force out the company budget for the interviewer. So you are going to the interview to know what exactly is the salary range. If the interviewer do not ask about the salary range, it is your duty to ask, because you do not want to waste time. As I said, interview is a two-way street. You interview your interviewer, and your interviewer interviews you. So why you should never measure the salary unless you are asked or prompted? It is important to understand the value of someone with your skill sets. Most people say speak to the employee within the company, but instead of going through all those stress, especially if you have a little time, just ask the interviewer. This is how I answer the question. Okay, for example, the company which I just look up asks, so thank you, we are very impressed about your background. So what is your salary expectation? Hear my reply. Thank you so much for that. My goal right now is career growth. I'm very, very flexible. And right now, I'm looking for a company like yours who are into, then you pick pointers on what they are doing. This is where it's very important to search at the company like yours who are into changing the future of technology using virtual reality. And then I'm very excited to work with you and even with everyone in the team. And then I'm very flexible. I'm willing to work with the company budgets, with everything in the role. My goal right now, even as I said earlier, is to work in a meaningful project and then to enhance my career, because that's priority for me. And then it will be a plus to work with amazing team like yours. Very simple. So you ask, so I would love to know, what is your budget for the role? That's simple. So you woo them, you say something sweet about their products, which you mean, and then why you love to work with them, and then you ask what is their budget for that role. And then the company will tell you, like when I interviewed with Dido, they were like, okay, for this role, our budget is $70,000 per year. Oh, $70,000. That's fine. I can work with that. And that is within my expectation. So what happened? What happened there? Okay, let me give my instance with Dido. While interviewing with Dido, I think years back, I was going there because then I think I was collecting around $500 per month. That should be around $250, $300. And then I told them, I was going there with the mindset, okay, if I can just get a job paying $250,000, that is $500 per month, I'm okay. Or $1,000 as miles, I'm going to go gather. And then the interviewer was like, $70,000. That should give around over $5,000 or $5,000 to $7,000 per month. And I was like, I started out of breath. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, so that is the salary expectation. So if I've mentioned $500 and the company budget is $5,000, you can see the difference. Definitely, it's a sign that this guy doesn't know his worth, and then it cannot deliver. And that tax is just like a simple tax that anyone, even someone with a 3-month experience with that role, can do. So that is it. So you need to go there with the mindset that basically you want to know about the company salary budget. The truth is, some recruiter will tell you we do not have a budget for this role. Please do not believe them. Every company has a budget for the role. So if they ask you we do not have the budget for the role, just tell them, emphasize, I'm very flexible. Is it possible for you to speak to the board, to the hiring manager, and then get the salary range for the role, and then we'll communicate this via email? But I really want to work with you. Very simple. So try to escape that question, because that is a killer question. So as I said, get the pay range. Avoid scaring your interviewer with a bogus range, yet never undervalue your skill, okay? Just like I said, I'm flexible. My priority right now is finding a company like yours that do A, B, C, and my goals are aligned with yours that I want to achieve A, B, C. So what is the budget for the role? Simple as that. So other questions you may likely be asked is, what do you know about the organization? This question comes in where you are too focused about your skill, you are too focused about the salary, and then you haven't said something about the organization. So it just gives the interviewer an impression that you are coming in for the money, and employers need people who are coming in to stay with the organization because they are aligned with the value of the organization, because they want to work with the organization, because they are passionate, and then they are able to learn about what that industry is about and what the organization do. So when the interviewer is asking you this question, that means you haven't mentioned anything about the organization. You do not even know what the organization do and the like, okay? So that is very important for you to make research. And then why do you want to work for us? Now, if you've not emphasized that you love the company product and you've not talked about exactly what the company do, now, and the vision of the company, this question will pop up because the employer wants clarity on why you want to work. Is it the money? Because there are other interviewers at that moment. Now, is it the money you're looking for? If it's the money, then they go for someone who is more aligned with their products, because all employers are looking for employees that will stay a long time within the company. Then what can you bring to the company? This comes in when you've not addressed the basic requirements, that you have 70% of the requirement by talking about your skill, and that you're currently doing what the company needed to do. Like your responsibility are just like I listed with the rescue. So once you've not addressed this question will pop up. And in case all this question pop up, so what you need to do is to repeat what you've said so far. So you can say, even as I've said before, I love to work with the company because the company is into this, and this. And in 3 years' time, I know that VR tech is going to change the world. And I want to be one of the core guys that develop this. So I'm passionate to work with you, and I'm willing to learn and become an organization leader within your company. One more question which the company might ask is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Now, this is a tempting question. What the company is asking is, in the next 5 years, will you still be with us? Will you upskill yourself? Do you see yourself as becoming an industrial leader, even in that field in the company? So when the company asks, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? The answer you should provide is, in the next 5 years, I aim to have gotten all the skill or most of the skill required to do this job. And I see myself in the management position where I mentor others, even basically in what I've learned, and then ensure that they are on the path to upskilling and then becoming valuable to the organization. So you want to talk like in the manager. So you want to dream big within the company. So what are your weaknesses? I've interviewed lots of job seekers, hundreds of job seekers, and then what 70% of these people tell me is, I have no weakness. I'll be like, Really? So ensure you have a weakness, even though you don't. Ensure you have. So what are your weaknesses? Your weaknesses could be, I find it, I do not know React.js. Or, okay, I'm just beginning to learn. Okay, I know about the front-end development React.js, but I do not know the backend, that is Node.js, or how to consume API. That is a weakness. But then you want to quickly cover up the weakness and say, although I do not know how to consume API, I'm 1 week into a course that teach about API by Udemy. And then I'm currently learning how to create my first API. Amazingly, I just consumed my first API. And then I'm looking at growing in this and turning this weakness into a strength. That's basically what you just did. You've emphasized your weakness, and then you told them that this weakness is something I'm currently working on and improving. And the next, what are your strengths? Now, what the organization is asking for is, what makes you different from other candidates? Now, this can be your skill set. But if you are entry level, what you want to emphasize is you are very passionate about what the company do about the role. And then you're a fast learner and then looking at growing very speedily within the company. And if you are in the career, and let's say you've switched career most times, what the company will ask you is, why is there a career gap in your resume or in your CV? Now, how to answer this is very simple. You want to tell them, okay, I decide to go and work on impactful projects, even within companies. And now I am back to the job market. Or I was affected by layoff and I decided to take time to myself, 3 months, in order to get my mental self back. And then I am back to working full-time within a company. So that's all for the interview. So do you have any question?
Concerning talking about your weaknesses, I still, if okay, would it be better? Would I something I want to just know that should I avoid talking about something that is in the description as a weakness?
Yeah, that's very important. Please do not talk about something that is in the description as a weakness, but you can talk about it as a weakness if you are currently improving on it. Okay. So if you are improving on it, that will give you a higher stand that, okay, I do not know Node.js currently, and in the description it is required, but then I just developed my first project with Node.js on seeing it in the application because I really want to work with the company. So you turn that weakness into a strength.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Also, concerning salary expectations, I think you giving me scenarios for when you are being asked. So is it proper that you should not always that you should make sure it's the interviewer that brings up the topic?
Yes. No. Once there is it, if a company has 3 interview stages, now in the first interview stage, do not ask about salary. It's okay. But in the second interview stage, if the interviewer is not bringing up the salary, now you want to ask and you want to know, okay? Now, that's why it's very good to ask how many stages of the interview are there for you to have it right. If it's just a single interview, then you want to ask in the first interview if the interviewer is not, because you do not want to waste your time, you do not want to waste your efforts, and then you want to save the company time and money too.
Okay, sir. So how will you put such a question?
Okay. The question is very simple. The interviewer is going to ask you if you have a question. And in case they did not ask you, if you have a question, you can say, sorry, can I ask a question? And then you ask, okay, I noticed you've not salary expectation. Now, I would love to know what is the company budget for this role?
Oh, okay, great. That's nice.
So very simple and straight to the point.